Hi everyone, this is Tyler Constable with Avantra, and welcome to the Predictive Resource Consumption training video. In here, we're going to talk about not only looking at trends and charts, but taking that data and looking out into the future. So Avantra's got some algorithms built into it, and why is that important? Is it good for budgetary purposes, for looking a year or 2 years down the road, or maybe it's for getting notifications, not just on if something's 90% full, but also perhaps something's got 100 hours before it fills up. So looking forward to showing you around.
So when you first log into Avantra, predictive resources are held up at the reporting dropdown and the ability to select predictive resource planning. In here, a new tab has appeared. You'll see first there's a yellow box that says, all right, what do we want to look at? So use disk space is a combination of essentially all the disk space associated with a certain server. Total disk size, very similar. Use file system as we'll lay out each file system. Database space and database size. And then alone, if there's a standalone database, these are for SAP systems, how much is actually used in total, and then if there's a standalone database that you may be looking at as well. So for this example, we're going to use the use disk space. And the first thing it does is it's going to ask me, all right, so how much historical data do you want to use for these algorithms? So for this example, I'm going to say, let's go back a full year. And I'm going to predict usage out to, in this, when we did this, it says we're going to use September 30th, 2021. So we're going to go out a year in advance. I need to select the little refresh button over here first. So you'll see everything just quickly changed. I can now see my different types of server, my different servers over here. I can see if I have different customers in my Avantra. If I'm a managed service provider, I can see the different customers. I can see the system role, and here's the current used disk space. Now, if things continue to grow as they have in the last year, where are we going to be at by essentially in another year, right? So here I can see the predicted space, the predicted growth, and the predicted growth percentage, and I can actually see more information over here as well. And I can actually click it and get a little graph of what that projection might be. Now, this is a pretty lengthy one here because I put it far out, but you get to see, what that output might be out into the future. So this becomes very, very valuable. Outside of just keeping an eye on your systems, is when you're going into a budget cycle and you need to start looking at, or what are my costs going to be next year? So if you're still on premise or you've got hardware, do you need to acquire more hardware in your budget cycle, right? Do I need to go out and purchase more hardware? Things are growing too fast. Or perhaps you're in a public cloud and now you can take a look at your service and say, all right, if things continue to grow as they have, what are my cloud costs going to be next year? Right, so you can kind of plug this in, take these growth percentages and plug them in to the agreement you have with that public cloud service provider, and now you can start to budget for what you're going to look at next year. Another way this becomes very, very valuable is in notification-based as well. So if you already have a good understanding of notifications and checks, there's a way you can actually use these algorithms in those scenarios. So to do so, I'm going to go into, in this example, let's do a server. And I'm just going to select the first server here and see if this is set to work or not. And when I go into the Mani params, you'll see there's something called file system down here. If I select new, I can select which file system I want this to be for. So let's just do it at the root level here for this example. Select new. And in here, you'll see there's usage thresholds and usage exhaustion. So again, the standard check thresholds that are set when configuring Avantra will already take place. And this is kind of above and beyond that. So let's say just for root, there's something unique. And yes, this can be pretty standard stuff, like we want a warning at 85% full or, 90% full, or maybe we want it at, 10 meg left, what have you. So you can kind of split this apart however you want. But now we can also, using the algorithms, we can now use the exhaustion threshold as well, which is based on hours. So Avantra is going to say, all right, I'm going to I'm going to turn this into warning when there's 100 hours before this root file system fills up. And then I'm going to set it to critical 24 hours. So what that means is maybe you'll get a text message here and an email here. So you can do different things in this scenario as well. So you can actually use those algorithms to set up the status of the check, which can then be used for notifications and automations, so on and so forth, and dashboards. So in this Avantra session, we covered predictive resource consumption, just an overview and a notification.